At this point in time, the number of chairs vastly exceeds the number of people on the planet. By some estimates, there are between 8 and 70 chairs for every single one of us. Chairs are so important, we measure the capacity of a room by how many chairs it will hold. How many does the room seat, we want to know, as if it were impossible to inhabit a room without being pinned into a chair. I want to invite you to escape your chairs for a moment. So if you're able, have a stand up and notice what your body might need in this moment. Perhaps a reach, a bend, a twist. Maybe your feet could use a point and flex. Maybe some rolls. And how about a nice deep inhale through our noses? And now, I'm sorry to have to ask you to take your seats. Only because that's how this room is built. Your body has intelligence. It knew what it needed to feel better and get some clarity in that moment. But we've created a whole built environment that's oriented around our eyes and our ears, our whole heads, really, but not anything else. It's as if we have a view of ourselves as brains on sticks, or maybe more accurately, computers wearing meat suits, in which the meat suit has nothing to do with the performance of the computer. We haven't recognized that our bodies below the necks and even the environment that's in our closely around us has a real effect on our mindsets and our behavior. If we treated a dog by keeping it cooped up, badly fed, and unsocialized, we'd expect a dog with issues. No one thinks that's a great way to treat a dog. But it's sometimes how we treat ourselves. We stay inside, we walk as little as possible. But what if we started thinking about ourselves as Homo sapiens, a phenomenal animal species with whole body intelligence? What might our built environment look like then? I'm going to take you on a little imaginative journey, starting at home. At home, mobility would take priority. It would be much more normal to just sit on the floor. We'd need a lot fewer chairs, and those we did have would be built mainly to make them easy to get out of. Recliners might come with a warning label: excessive use may lead to a loss of agility. We might install sleek grab bars over our door frames so that we could hang for a little stretch in our backs or just to maintain our grip strength. And we'd orient our furniture towards the windows and not towards the television. What about school? The Universal Design for Learning framework recommends lots of choices and options. So even for upper grades and university, there would be varied heights of desks and tables, different kinds of chairs that allowed you to perch or rock, and lots of room to move around. We'd have multiple walls with space for drawing or writing to take advantage of distributed cognition or extended cognition, which is shared thinking that allows you to physically navigate ideas. There would be arrangements for the room for solo quiet focus, for working in pairs or small teams, and much more rarely an arrangement for the whole class to focus on just one voice. We really don't think or learn best sitting in rows, facing forward, being quiet. You know, I used to think that my becoming a professor was a result of having been the kind of odd kid who was capable of sitting still and being quiet and learning. But then I started thinking about very specific aspects of my elementary school experience. For one thing, I walked to school every day. It was a half a mile. And even when it was 30 below zero in Rochester, Minnesota, my friends and I walked. I don't remember being driven to school ever. And when we got there, our rooms had been frequently rearranged. There was a corner with carpeting and pillows that you could snuggle in for reading. And we were outside multiple times every day. in the winter, as a treat, we got to ice skate at lunch. And we had indoor physical education as well. And then after school was over, we rode our bikes or walked home, and we took our sweet time. So no wonder I had the bandwidth to work math problems and memorize long poems. I was outside for hours every day, providing my brain with cognitive restoration. But then you grow up, and it's important to be serious and do office work inside, right? Well, cognitive psychologists are now providing empirical evidence to support attention restoration theory, which posits that spending time outside provides our brains with a better focus. So if our cognitive function is improved by spending time outside, why not intentionally plan some meetings there? We can take walks in small groups of 2 or 3, which can generate more creative ideas. And it should be easy for every employee to have a quick walk break on a regular basis during the day. Or at the very least, have windows that open and plants. We should all have sit-stand desks, maybe even some treadmills or wobble boards, and adjustable height seating. The researcher Keith Diaz and his team at Columbia University have recently conducted a study with over 20,000 participants, and they were able to determine that a 5-minute movement snack every 30 minutes, a dance, a stretch, a walk, produced better focus, improved moods, and sustained energy throughout the day. So we really need to think about working differently. What about our community and social spaces? Well, intentionally planned green spaces with lots of trees have been shown to improve mental health outcomes in neighborhoods. We should have lots of wide, gentle ramps and pathways for people to move easily throughout the day. They should be easy for walking, cycling, pushing a stroller, using a mobility assistance device. And why limit mobility assistant devices to wheeled chairs in which you have to sit when there are now devices with leg braces and back support so that everyone can meet at eye level? Opportunities for casual social interaction in well-planned third spaces like parks and libraries, museums, galleries, and cafes can go a long way towards addressing our epidemic of loneliness. So there's lots of rebuilding and redesigning to be done. What makes all of that investment worthwhile? Thinking of ourselves as computers in meat suits has actually done pretty serious harm to our planet and to our own health. A meta-analysis by the British Journal of Ophthalmology has recently shown that since 1990, there's been a dramatic increase in nearsightedness among children. And it's not hard to understand the multiple causes for that. We're focusing too often on objects close up and not enough on objects in the distance, like the tops of trees or clouds. Developing eyeballs need a lot of natural light and to alternate between close-up objects and objects at a distance in order to maintain their optimal shape. So we're suffering in our indoor screen-filled lives. Our bodies and our minds are crying out for more time outside, moving around. But I'm not an engineer or an architect or a designer, you might be saying to yourself, what can I do? Well, let me suggest a simple mindset shift. We are beautiful Swiss Army knives of movement. We can do this, and we can do this. And some evolutionary scientists even think that that wide range of movement is one of the reasons we developed such big brains in the first place. You can test your mind-body connection with a few easy experiments, and these are things that maybe have become a little bit more unusual than they should be. So give these a whirl. Open a window. Sit on the floor. Take the stairs. walk out a bad mood. Ride a bike. Look at the sky. Make friends with a specific tree. You can give it a name and touch it. Hang from your arms. Grow some plants. Swim in a lake or a river. And notice how these behaviors affect your state of mind. We can do a better job taking care of ourselves and of each other by remembering that our minds are not just inside of our heads. Get in touch with yourself as a creature of this planet, not because it's virtuous or it's another thing to add to your to-do list, but because it feels good. You have one wild and precious life, as the poet Mary Oliver reminds us. Live it well. Thank you.